Sabaidi! Hello! So, the past couple of days have been very challenging as a consular officer. What most people know about consular officers is that we issue visas, process passports, right, for Americans, provide notary services, um, help to issue certificates of birth abroad for those children of U.S. citizen parents who are born overseas, so forth. But I think, something people don't often talk about is that consular officers are also the ones helping American citizens who are, victims of crime, or whenever there is a natural disaster, right? Contacting and informing all U.S. citizens and making sure that they're safe and so forth. And I think this past couple of days have been really difficult because I think first I had a case of a young woman who came to the embassy, right, to report she had been physically, verbally, and sexually abused. As a woman, that was very difficult to process, and just to hear everything, take all the details, and it just made me furious inside, because I've heard similar stories before, and especially when it's connected to family, it makes me even more furious. But I put that anger to the side and focused that, like, my number one goal was to make sure that she was safe and to help her. And just within days, I was able to get her out of the country. And I was extremely happy for that. Just to let her, go back to the U.S., to see her go back to the U.S. and like be much happier. So that was amazing. I also went another different case. I had to go to the hospital to see an American who had cancer. That was very difficult as well, because of the conditions of the hospital and also the conditions of the person who wasn't really eating and everything. It was extremely challenging, and all I could do was kind of provide comfort to the partner who was there. It's the only kind of family member that has been with the person, the American who was dying, and unfortunately a few days later he ended up passing away, and I just had to kind of talk to the partner and just be there to listen and just be able to say I'm sorry for your loss, because there's not that much that I can say that will make her feel better, but just to be there and help her throughout the process and guide her and make her feel that she's not alone. So we helped her organize the funeral services, put her in touch with people who can help her, the organizations and all of that. And then today, I thought I was done with my work day. I even left the embassy pretty late, and then I checked my work phone when I got home around 7. It was even later, almost 8 p.m. Checked my work phone, had missed calls and text messages from my boss, and I had to call the U.S. Because we received a call saying an American citizen potentially committed suicide and was found dead in a hotel. So I had to be the one who calls the family in the U.S. to give the bad news. And the first person that I called didn't answer because it's so early in the U.S. And the second person that I called did answer, and that happened to be the mother. So I knew from the moment she mentioned that she was the mother, I knew it was going to be a challenging conversation, right? Because I was the first person telling her that her son passed away. So there was a couple of moments of silence, and just trying to provide comfort, and listen to her and express my condolences, and just be there. And at the moment she couldn't really process much, so I told her it's not a problem. We can give her a call back tomorrow once she's able to process things a little better and once she's able to talk with other family members. Alrighty. So repatriating an American citizen is sometimes easy, sometimes challenging. This case in particular was a little bit more on the challenging side, given that it's an elderly person who requires oxygen, requires wheelchair assistance, and he just cannot walk at all. So he needs to be carried to the plane. It's a Caucasian, tall man. Lao people are typically my height or shorter, so it requires a couple people to do it. I had to talk to the supervisor, talk to everyone to make sure that they took care of him and that, you know, he has what he needs. And just getting here today was a long process as well, from like getting an emergency passport for him because he didn't have one, setting an appointment to do a COVID test, setting an appointment to get a fit to fly letter, getting here today. I did the entire check-in process for him, and just making sure that he has everything. And now the son will meet him in the next airport, and then they will fly together all the way to the U.S. The son can't come here because Laos is currently closed, so no one can fly in. But yeah, another successful case for today. It's a good way to end the year. Mission accomplished. So I just got back from the airport, repatriating an American citizen. This was a tough case. I've been working on it since week 1, since I arrived in Laos. It was the first case put in my desk, and they're like, Martha, this guy has been sentenced for a couple of months, this guy has been arrested for a couple of months, but hasn't been sentenced. We need to do something because he needs to have the right to a fair trial. So I had to talk to the victims. I had to talk to the court. I had to obviously talk to the prison where he was arrested, go visit him. That was the first visit that I did on week 1. And it was a lot of moving pieces and communicating with the family and explaining how everything works here. We cannot provide any legal advice, but we obviously have to check in on prisoners to make sure that they're healthy, they're okay, and we all have to ensure that their rights are being respected. So there were a lot of moving pieces, and I'm just happy to see him be released, and helping him go back to the United States with his family, and hopefully he'll stay out of trouble. But yeah, that's the life of a consular officer. The life of a U.S. diplomat overseas.